Wave 3 for NATO forces covers the French. Despite withdrawing from the unified command structure in 1966, France remained a member of NATO. Battlefront have added plenty to French forces in the game, both at the high and low end of the spectrum. Fog of War is the content partner for NATO forces, and Battlefront have kindly given me access to the book so I can tell you all about it. Stick with me as we check out this final NATO forces release wave. I apologise for my voice in this voiceover. I have a chest infection, and it's taking a while to shake that off. Just a quick word here. I don't field French, and have never played against a French force. It's not my area of expertise. Just bear that in mind during this review. As in the previous videos, I'm going to look at the new release products first, followed by an overview of new French formations. Wave 3 for NATO forces is due out on the 4th of November. This mainly covers French forces, with some exciting new units to spice up your armies. Let's do the biggest first. The army starter box for this release is the French Leclerc Tank Company starter force. This box set is designed to get you started as a new French player. It contains 3 of the brand new Leclerc main battle tank kits. There's also 3 AMX-30 tanks, 3 of the AMX AUF-1 155mm SP howitzers, an AMX 10P observation post, and 2 Gazelle helicopters. Leclerc is the new plastic kit for the NATO forces release, giving French forces a modern and capable MBT. But you only get 3. That's mainly down to points. They're expensive. This box set is a good option to get a French force on the table quickly. You can also expand your tank force by building the AUF-1s as tanks. The AMX-30 plastic kit lets you do that. I'll talk more about the force you can field from this box set when we look at French forces later in the video. Remember that the box set is only available for a limited time. If you want one, order now or miss out. You're going to need some unit cards for the new units. The French unit card pack has 33 unit cards, covering all the French forces. That's all the original Free Nations units, plus all the new units introduced in NATO forces. If you're just after adding Leclerc, there's the Leclerc Tank Platoon box. This contains 5 plastic Leclerc tanks. Unless you're playing very big points games, that should be plenty. The French infantry platoon has 33 figures. That's enough to build 1 FAMAS assault rifle team HQ, 5 FAMAS rifle teams, 2 LRAC anti-tank teams, and 1 APELAS anti-tank team. As a bonus, there's enough figures here to add 2 ERIX missile arm teams as well. ERIX is an optional upgrade for the LRACs. If you already have French infantry, that's okay. This release includes a direct-only option to purchase an ERIX missile team to add to your forces. Each bag contains 2 figures, enough to build an ERIX missile team. Now you just have to remember how you painted your infantry so you can match these new figures. Battlefront have started introducing infantry heavy weapons teams like mortars to the game. This trend continues for the French with the 120mm mortar platoon. The RT-F1 120mm rifled mortar gives French infantry companies an alternative to tube artillery. The box set has 3 mortars and 12 crew figures. These are towed by VAB-wheeled APCs. You'll need to buy the transports separately. I believe the points for these quoted in the NATO Forces sourcebook are incorrect. The book has them at 6 and 8 points for 3 and 6 mortars respectively. Apparently this should be 3 and 6 points, as noted on Forces. France also gets the Mistral SAM group. This has 24 figures, enough to make 4 Mistral missile teams. These mount multiple Mistral launchers on a large base. Mistral is a fire-and-forget IRAA missile. It's man-portable and fired from a tripod mount. The number of Mistral teams you have is linked to the number of Roland AA vehicles in your force. One option VAB infantry companies get is to swap some of their standard VABs for VAB T20s. These are VAB transports that mount a 20mm cannon in a low-profile turret. The 20mm cannon gives more punch than the 50 cal armed transports they replace. As well as replacing infantry transports, the T20 can be operated as a separate fire support section. The VAB T20 is a resin and metal kit, and the box has parts for 4 vehicles. Our last new release is the VBL Patrol. This is a resin and metal box set containing 4 VBL reconnaissance vehicles. VBL is a wheeled 4x4 lightly armoured utility vehicle. Fully amphibious, it can be air transported and even air dropped. The image we have here shows the assembled and painted VBLs. Note they have machine guns at the gun ring up front, and several show Milan, Apilas and Eric's ATGMs, fired from the rear compartment. So those are all the products in this final release wave for NATO forces. They're due out in early November. Let's take a quick look at some of the French formations in the book. Here's the French National Force diagram. There are up to 6 armoured squadrons, 3 of Leclerc and 3 with the lighter AMX-30. There's also up to 3 companies of mechanised infantry in AMX-10P tracked IFVs and 3 cavalry squadrons armed with the AMX-10RC. You can also take infantry in wheeled VAB transports, up to 4 of these, and there's now also one VBL formation too. This gives you a wide variety of different forces to take for the French. There's something here to match most playstyles, from heavy armour through to a swarm of light VBL 4x4s. France has a big selection of support too, many of them unique vehicles. Artillery choices are a pair of AUF-1 batteries and a towed 120mm mortar platoon, plus the option of M270 MLRS rockets. These can all take an AMX-10P observer. Anti-air includes the Roland AA missile system and the AMX-13 DCA gun-armed system. Remember that taking Roland opens up the Mistral manpads option as well. Anti-tank support is the VAB Mephisto, firing the Hot missile from a twin launcher. The upgraded Hot 2 is an option if you think they need some more oomph. There's always the option to take a black box combat unit from another formation in formation support, and French forces can take one NATO formation as an allied formation. Air support is up to 2 flights of Hot missile-armed Gazelle helicopters and another flight with 20mm cannons. The cannon-armed helicopters get the gunslinger rule, which lets them resolve their fire before enemy AA fire, an advantage that shouldn't be underestimated. Fixed-wing aviation is the Mirage 5 Patrol. So, there's a good variety of formations and plenty of unique support options that give French forces their unique flavour. Some people have asked about French paratroopers or the French Foreign Legion. They're not included here, but it's always possible they'll be added to the game at some point. Let's start heavy. The Leclerc Armoured Squadron list has a 1-tank HQ plus up to 4 Leclerc armoured platoons. But with Leclerc running almost 20 points each, you'll be struggling to field a HQ and 2 compulsory platoons in a 100-point game. This is probably why the second compulsory platoon can be the cheaper AMX-30 tank instead, and one of the optional Leclerc platoons can be swapped for AMX-10P infantry. With the later tanks being so individually expensive, this is really the only way this can work. That means the starter box can be fielded as a Leclerc HQ and a 2-tank Leclerc platoon, plus a 3 to 4 tank AMX-30 platoon. The artillery and helicopters will go in support. That's roughly 75 points. I'd suggest some infantry might be the next best add-on for that force. Probably some AMX-10P infantry in the core formation. Then some AA and anti-tank, I think. If you think a tank company is a bit pricey, Leclerc also gets added as an option to the AMX 10P company list. The tanks are an organic support option for the mechanised infantry. The infantry get the Eric's missile upgrade option too. The French Cavalry Squadron mixes the new VBL 4x4 utility vehicle in with the AMX 10RC wheeled vehicles in the reconnaissance role. The AMX 10RC mounts a capable 105mm gun, with up to 4 platoons providing heavy fire support to the 4 VBL platoons. There's a VAB HQ and an optional VAB mounted infantry section. The VBLs also get their own list, the oddly named Divisional Illumination Squadron. This is a specialised scouting formation that's all VBLs. There's a 2-vehicle HQ, plus up to 9 VBL patrols. 3 of these are compulsory. It also includes a single VBL anti-tank group. The patrols are a pair of VBLs fitted with machine guns, and they have APELAS for anti-tank defence. However, APELAS can be replaced by Eric's for more punch. The Milan group is 3 vehicles, but you get the option of Milan or Milan 2. This upgrade is probably worth it, and will give you a small but mobile anti-tank asset to back up the recce patrols. This all looks like a lot of fun. French also have a wheeled infantry option with the VAB Infantry Company. This is a HQ and up to 4 VAB infantry sections. There's organic artillery, with the new 120mm mortar platoon and anti-tank with a Milan section. This formation even gets organic tanks, with AMX 30 or Leclerc as an option, along with the AMX 10RC. This might be a good formation to add Leclerc to make economical use of this high points asset as an organic formation option if you're not running a tank formation. Lastly, there's the option for a section of VAB T20s, using their 20mm cannons in fire support. T20s can also be substituted for up to 2 standard VABs in the infantry sections, plus the infantry get access to Eric's and Milan too. The more I look at this formation, the more it appeals to me. The VBLs and cavalry squadrons look like fun, but the VAB Infantry Company puts a lot of useful stuff organically within the company. This looks like it could be a really strong combined arms force. So that's a very quick overview of the French, and a look at the new releases in this final wave for NATO forces. As I said in the beginning, I don't field French, and I've not seen them on a table. But taking a look, there's some great options here. Heavy tanks, nippy VBL squadrons, cavalry recon. There's lots of different formations here to match a lot of playstyles. I expect to see a lot of VBLs included in people's forces. Leclerc is a great tank, and a significant upgrade on the AMX 30, but it's also a big points investment. You could field a tank squadron, but I'd be more tempted to add some to one of the formations who can take them organically like the VAB infantry. But what would I know, right? Let's hear from you. Have you played the French? What formations would you choose? Is the Leclerc worth the points? What new release is doing it for you? Let us know in the comments below. Again, I apologise for my voice this time through. Hopefully it'll clear up before the next one. Thanks for watching. See you next time.